Budweiser racing across America. Brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By the Thoroughbred Racing Association, assuring the highest racing standards. Thrifty Car Rental. Thrifty is a lot of car rental company for incredibly little. By DeBartolo Racing, leading the way to the 21st century. And by the Breeders' Cup, racing's $10 million championship. Stay tuned for coverage of the 116th running of the Kentucky Oaks on the day before the Derby from Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. Next on ESPN. The Derby, and here in Lexington and Louisville, that means the Ladies' Day with the fillies in the spotlight for the 116th running of the Kentucky Oaks. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. We're glad you've joined us for the next 2 days. We'll be right here on ESPN, along with the Thoroughbred Racing World, spotlighting, of course, this old Kentucky home of racing, Churchill Downs. And what a week it is, the week they run the Kentucky Derby. Nothing like it in sport. And, of course, today with the Kentucky Oaks, they're expecting a record crowd, more than 68,000 despite heavy rains throughout the day. The sun is shining, though, brightly now. We have a sloppy racetrack. Tomorrow, though, with good weather, the crowd should swell to 130,000. They'll bet some $40 million worldwide on the Kentucky Derby. The media, well, that's quite a story, too, as you can imagine. 1,600 media credentials have been issued to journalists worldwide, including 2 to our racing experts, Dave Johnson and Charles C. Canty. We'll meet them in just a moment. First, let's introduce you to our race schedule this afternoon. It features the Kentucky Oaks. And then, of course, we'll take a look at the big grass race here, the Early Times Turf Classic. Then another Philly Spotlight race, the Louisville Budweiser Breeders' Cup. Here are the conditions now for the historic Kentucky Oaks. And its 116th running. It is a Grade 1 event, $200,000 added. The 3-year-old fillies go 1.1 miles. Joining me now, one of our experts in racing, the man who's calling the races for us today, and the voice of the Triple Crown for ABC Sports. You can imagine Dave Johnson's had a very busy week. But Dave, let's put in perspective the Kentucky Oaks Day and this race.
Well, Chris, the Kentucky Oaks is patterned after the English Oaks, and it certainly has had a major impact on the racing of our older mares and certainly in the broodmare bands around the country. Of course, the Oaks has been overshadowed by its companion piece, the companion stakes of the weekend, the Kentucky Derby, little race for 3-year-old colts and geldings, but it has a rich and varied history and tradition of its own. And as you check the winners, well, a couple names pop out. On the jockey side, 2 jockeys are Eddie Arcaro and Manuel Icaza, each won the Oaks 4 times. And on the trainer side, well, our old friend Woody Stevens took the Oaks 5 times. He's looking for a 6th this afternoon. He has a filly in the contest. So let's check to see who he has to run against and the entire field with the jockey assignments. We start with a 3-tiered entry from the Wayne Lucas barn. Bright Candles with Jose Santos, Seaside Attraction with Chris McCarron, and Paper Money with Angel Cordero Jr. 3 for the price of 1, and 6 to 1 is the starting morning line odds. Go for Wand is the choice at 4 to 5 with Randy Romero. th-DE-LADEVIL is number 3. That's the one trained by Woody Stevens, and Craig Perrette rides at 12 to 1. Dance Colony with Pat Day at 7 to 2. Piper with Jim McKnight is a 50 to 1 long shot. Hail Atlantis, scratched by trainer D. Wayne Lucas. This horse does not like the off track and was withdrawn. The number 7 horse is Lonely Girl with Kent DeSormo at 20. Fit to Scout with Lafitte Penkai Jr. at 12 to 1. Arm the Natives 50 to 1 with Jack Nagel completing the field, 10 of them.
Dave, you mentioned Go for One, a strong betting favorite, the champion 4 to 5. Were you surprised to see this big a field?
I think they were all surprised. We sort of thought she'd have an easy time at the entry box and on the racetrack, but they've come out of the woodwork. I don't know whether it's a feeling that they could handle the off track and she couldn't or whatever, but we do have a very competitive 10-horse field this afternoon.
Well, let's meet our favorite now, the Eclipse Award-winning filly, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Champion last year. She's got quite a bit of history behind her with her stable name, and Charles C. Canty is going to take us back now for a look at the connections of Go for One, today's favorite.
The yellow and purple silks of Christiana Stables have been prominent on the American racing scene for over 50 years. It was in 1937 that the late Harry Lunger and his wife, Jane DuPont Lunger, played a large part in getting racing in Delaware and subsequently purchased their first horse named Brooke. That undistinguished runner never beat a single horse during his career, but in years since, Christiana colors have been carried to the winner's circles by 35 stakes winners, 24 of them homebreds. One of the best was Obeah, a 2-time winner of the Delaware Handicap who earned more than $387,000. At age 22, Obeah foaled Go for Wand, who continued the tradition as last year's 2-year-old filly champion. is currently the terror of the sophomore distaff set. Her trainer is Billy Badgett, and he is understandably proud of his filly's association with past greatness.
At this stage of the game, as far as the Christiana fillies, I'd have to say she's among the top of the band of fillies they've had, and that's quite an honor to be there, I think. As far as the other fillies go, she's been mentioned in the forum as being compared with Personal Ensign and Ruffian, and that's really quite an honor to even be categorized with those class of fillies.
Go for Wand has earned those accolades with 2 very easy victories this year. Most recently over the previously undefeated Sharon in the Ashland Stakes at Keeneland. It was a victory that altered Badgett's immediate plans for his still improving champion.
It just seems to me that she gets better after every race. It's kind of hard to say that she's going to do that, actually, but her first 2 races this year have absolutely taken nothing out of her whatsoever. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to go to the Oaks. And we were going to skip the Oaks and go to the Acorn. But after the Ashland, she cooled out in 20 minutes. The next day at the barn, she was bucking and playing like it was just a workout for her. And so we decided might as well keep her going while the going's good.
Well, another good reason to seize the day for Billy Badgett and Go for Wand is the fact that today's thunderstorms have left this track very sloppy, which is a surface she relishes. 3 of her 5 victories have come over off track, so today's weather was certainly to the delight of her owner, Mrs. Jane Lunger. Now, Mrs. Lunger, when a filly is this dominant over her own sex, the obvious temptation is to try the colts, to run her in the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. She'd look like winning colors go into the post. Were you tempted?
No, not really. I'll tell you, I feel she's got 2 good years of racing against the fillies and mares, and then when she goes to the nursery, oh boy, she can have all the colts she wants, and good ones.
I'm sure she'll enjoy that. We also have to ask you, a lot of your horses' names have been named after the oak colt. Can we ask you again to explain Go for Wand's name?
I'd love to tell you. In Jamaica, where we had a house, if you put your OB on somebody, it's very bad luck. Then you must go for Wand, and I have a Wand here. But I didn't name her. A good friend of mine named her, and I think it's a brilliant name, Go for Wand.
Fits well with Salem, Witching Hour, all of those.
That's right.
Best of luck today.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with this filly in the future. Jane Lunger, some of the most mischievous and bright eyes in thoroughbred racing. Meanwhile, back to Chris.
Thank you, Chelsea. And when we come back, as you take a look at some of the artist work of Peter Williams, a renowned equine artist, we'll return with more at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Oaks Day. Well, for the 2nd year in a row, this may be a record crowd for Kentucky Oaks Day here at Churchill Downs in Louisville. And a lot of pretty ladies in the stands, as you might expect on the Ladies' Day here. And I tell you, the weather's as bright as a smile on Tom Maker's face, the president of the Churchill Downs, and finally got a break in the weather, looks like, Tom.
I wasn't smiling a while ago. About 2 hours ago, we had a fairly big downpour. But it's a great day here. It's always a great day in Kentucky on Oaks Day. And, of course, the biggest day in Kentucky is tomorrow.
Well, of course, as president of Churchill Downs, are the charter members of the Thoroughbred Racing Association. I know you're concerned not only with the front side, but the back side. Churchill Downs has done a lot of work for the horsemen over the last year.
Well, one of the things we're doing is taking the tradition of the front side and moving it to the back side. Of course, Churchill Downs is noted for its bricks on the first floor, and we're removing some of those bricks and replacing them with a new kind of brick and moving those bricks to the back side and constructing new barns and a bunch of other facilities back there. So the tradition of the bricks lives.
Well, we know that there are no reserve seats, obviously, for the Kentucky Derby tomorrow, but people can still get in. When do gates open? When's the post?
8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we open the gates, and for $30, you can get into the clubhouse area, and for $20, you'll go out and be able to go out in the infield. And the infield is pretty special now. We've got large screen televisions out there, and so for those folks who go to the infield, it's a great experience. For the first time, they'll be able to see the race.
Jamaica, again, thank you. Thank you for having ESPN, as always, here on Kentucky Derby Week.
Oh, you all do such a great job for racing. You really do.
Tom, thanks so much. And, of course, one of the great parts of racing at Churchill Downs, obviously, the races themselves. Today's a great example. 3 stakes races, more than $500,000 in added money. Let's catch you up on some of the bonus races now. Let's take you to the grass for the Early Times Turf Classic, a Grade 3 event. $150,000 added. They'll go 1.1 miles on the turf. They're 4 years old and up. Quite a history of this race, past winners like Manila, Yankee Affair, and Equalize, as we take a look at the field of 5. Brodo at 9-1 with Craig Perret. These are closing odds now. Stella Rival 24-1 with Ricardo Lopez. Iron Courage is at 8-1, David Penna. Then it's Yankee Affair, winner in 1988, second in 1989, and at 3-5, Jose Santos riding, and 10 keys at 8-5 with Kent DeSormo. We're going to pick up now the call with Dave Johnson. The early times are on the backside.
Down the backstretch. Iron Courage still holds on to the lead now, in front by only a neck, as Yankee Affair with jockey Jose Santos on the outside moves a closer second. 10 keys with Kent DeSormo in third. Then comes Stellar Rival, and Broto is fifth. Midway around the turn, there goes Yankee Affair, charging up on the outside to challenge. Iron Courage at the rail. On the outside, Yankee Affair. Those two head and head, past the quarter pole and turning for home. Iron Courage cuts the corner. On the outside, Yankee Affair now takes command. And down the stretch they come, with Yankee Affair in front. 10 keys with a late move on the outside. Through the stretch and to the wire, it's Yankee Affair digging in and holding on. 10 keys on the outside. Those two race for the wire, and 10 keys on the outside wins the Early Times Turf Classic by half a length.
So Yankee Affair runs second for the second straight year. The mare has won over the colt has won over $2 million. Yankee Affair finishing second to 10 keys. Fine ride by young Kent DeSormo coming in from California. The time 1:50.4 over a yielding turf course. Yankee Affair is second. Stellar Rival was third. The exact to pay off 5-4 at $8. Well, another filly race in the spotlight here this afternoon at Churchill Downs, and that is the Louisville Budweiser Breeders' Cup. Part of the Breeders' Cup race program that features stakes all over the country. The special stakes, $6.65 million in combined purses. 51 races run at 40 U.S. and Canadian tracks. And here are the conditions. 150,000 added, mile and a 16th for fillies and mares 3 and up. Barbarica, one of the favorites, along with A Penny is a Penny, as we're going to pick up this race call again with Dave Johnson of the Louisville Budweiser Breeders' Cup.
Past the half-mile pole. Heads apart on the front end. Barbarica at the rail. A Penny is a Penny on the outside second. Two back, A Firm Classic is racing third. Then at the rail, Luthier's Launch is fourth, followed by Beautiful Gold, and at the back of the pack, Connie's Gift. Moving to the top of the stretch, it's still Barbarica with Craig Perrette holding on to the lead by a head. But here comes A Penny is a Penny, and on the outside, A Firm Classic is in gear. 3 of them across the track as they straighten away in the lane. Barbarica on the inside leads ahead. A Firm Classic on the outside. From the back of the pack, here comes Connie's Gift with Pat Day on the outside and moving fastest of all. It's Connie's Gift on the outside, taking command and drawing clear by 2. Then comes A Firm Classic. Barbarica is back to third. Here's the finish of the Louisville Budweiser Breeders' Cup. It's Connie's Gift winning it by 4 lengths.
Connie's Gift coming from last to first, ridden by Pat Day, his 4th straight winner of the day. He just this week became Churchill Downs' all-time leading rider. And I know Pat Day hopes that this Connie's Gift, trained by Neil Howard, to be a preview of what might come tomorrow for them. That's the Summer Squall team, of course. Connie's Gift, owned and bred by Will Farish and W.S. Kilroy. Lanes Inn Farm involved there. As you see the results, $13, $5, $20, and $3. The payoff, $145 and $4. The winning time for Connie's Gift in the Louisville Budweiser Breeders' Classic. Some more of the ladies there as they're watching, and of course, D. Wayne Lucas is getting ready for some of his ladies. He's got 3 today coming up in the Kentucky Oaks. Back with a feature on Wayne and his ladies.
Arrived, but as you can see, quite a crowd waiting to see Go for Wand, who is going to be a very heavy favorite. They're holding her now at 2-5. Here's a look at all the odds. The D. Wayne Lucas entry, 3 filly entry at 6-1. There's Go for Wand, 2-5. th-DE-LADEVIL at 17-1. Dance Colony now at 3-1. And then long shots, most of the rest of them. The aforementioned D. Wayne Lucas always cuts a pretty dashing figure, and he's earned his reputation as a ladies' man pretty honestly, with top fillies and a lot of them. Distaffers play an important role in his stable. For instance, today he's entered 4 and he's running 3. Right now, Chris Lincoln is going to take a look at the role fillies have played in the Lucas operation.
In the long history of thoroughbred racing, no trainer has won more money, now closing in on $100 million, or more championships, 15, than D. Wayne Lucas. He's done all this in just 10 years in the sport, and he'll be the first to tell you that from the very beginning, the fillies have played a key role.
When we first started out into the thoroughbred business, we thought that the low-risk investment was probably a filly, in that if they didn't run and they had good pedigrees, they'd have residual value, whereas a stallion almost has to run and have a race career nowadays to be worth something. So we got more chances, bought more fillies, and then I think our program we pamper the hell out of these horses, and I think those fillies like that pampering.
Of the 15 titles his thoroughbreds have earned, 12 were won by his ladies, and Wayne certainly has his favorites.
Well, that's easy. Land of Lucy, and then, of course, Winning Colors. And I'm going to have to mention 3 to really be fair, and that's Lady Secret also. Those 3, I mean, jump right out. Land of Lucy was brilliant and I think, for sheer raw talent, was the best thing I ever had my hands on. Winning Colors winning our first Kentucky Derby makes her special. And, of course, Lady Secret, raised right there on the ranch in Oklahoma, and then going on to be Horse of the Year as a mare, makes her very special also.
Last year, Team Lucas won its second Kentucky Oaks with his 2-time champion Open Mind. Now in 1990, D. Wayne has invited a bevy of equine beauties to today's Distaff Derby.
Topping them off probably is Hail Atlantis, which we considered seriously for the Kentucky Derby itself. Had we got a good race out of her in the Fantasy, which came up mud and we didn't, we might have considered the Derby itself. But she's a big, strong, long-geared filly by Seattle Slew out of a real good family, and runs on the lead and is very, very precocious. Strong filly. Seaside Attractions and Seattle Slew filly also from the dam of Gorgeous, which says enough about that pedigree. But this filly's getting better all the time. Very strong, runs close up, and will finish well. The little filly Bright Candles is again probably going to be better suited to the grass later on, but she's drawing a check and very competitive. Had a good winner at Santa Anita, and I think deserves a shot. And then the last one's a filly that's by private account called Paper Money that is coming on strong. Had a couple of real strong races in New York recently. Runs off the pace, and I think that she's strong enough that if in fact the pace is tore it up front with Go for One and so forth, that then I think Paper Money could be a factor late.
Lucas's leading lady, Hail Atlantis, disappointed in her last start as the 4-5 favorite in Oakland Park's Fantasy Stakes, but she was a victim of the elements.
We got a large, heavy thunderstorm right before the race, and I thought our chances were greatly compromised. She skated around. She has trouble getting untangled on a dry track, and when it came up mud, she lost all chance. So on those kind of things, you just have to throw it out.
Well, you saw that look of disgust from D. Wayne Lucas back at Oakland Park when he watched the Fantasy Stakes there. He had that same look of disgust this afternoon about 3 o'clock when the skies opened up and heavy rains fell here at Churchill Downs. That's when he decided to scratch Hail Atlantis. She probably really had no chance on an off-track again. She just doesn't seem to be able to handle that. Well, the horses are arriving now for the Kentucky Oaks, and when we come back, we'll have more of our Oaks story here at Churchill Downs as Angel Cordero Jr. talking strategy over with D. Wayne Lucas and the owners.
Have begun to arrive, and one of them is Lonely Girl. She's 18-1 right now, and this is Tom Proctor, her trainer, and he's a man not easily intimidated by a 2-5 shot like Go for One. In fact, Tom, you ran her in the Fantasy against a 4-5 shot Hail Atlantis. You finished in front of Hail Atlantis and almost stole the whole thing.
Well, that's what happened there. I don't know if we can do it here on this track. Looks like the speed's dying a little bit, so we might even have to change a little bit.
Well, you were the speed in the Fantasy Stakes on a sloppy track similar to what we have today, and as you turned for home here, your heart must have been beating a little fast.
Oh, well, I could barely look through the binoculars. She just gave it up the last 70 yards.
And of course, that's Silvered on the outside who overtakes her. Tom, Go for One has a lot of speed. Your filly seems to run exclusively on the lead. What happens today?
We let the jock ride her. If he wants to go for the lead, he can go for the lead, and if he wants to take back, I'll give him that option too. Okay?
Best of luck.
Okay, thank you.
Tom Proctor looking for an upset in the Kentucky Oaks. Chris?
And it would be an upset. Charles here sticking down at the odds board there, and his 7-horse Lonely Girl is now at 17-1. Go for One. Awful tough at 1-2. We're going to take a little closer look at Go for One, and can anybody beat this super filly? Well, we're going to go inside the Daily Racing Form and talk to the executive columnist, Joe Hirsch, and get a little perspective on the Kentucky Oaks' importance in the sport.
Actually, it's more than that, Chris. It's a classic. It's been run for 116 years, the same length of time as the Derby. It's now run under classic conditions, all the horses carrying equal weight. And it's a classic in the sense that it attracts the best 3-year-old fillies in the country every year. So this is, in fact, a true classic. As for the this year's running of the Oaks, this is an excellent renewal because it features one of the finest 3-year-old fillies anybody has seen in a long time, and that, of course, is Go for One. She is really an exceptional filly, the likes of which you only see perhaps once in a decade. Is she an absolute cinch? Probably. But still, there are some very fine horses that will be running against her. One of them is Hail Atlantis, who did not have a good race in Arkansas the last time out, but I think that can be dismissed. Take another look at Hail Atlantis today. A Lonely Girl ran very well in the Fantasy Stakes. She, too, deserves some consideration. Dance Colony, the Buckland Farm filly, coming along very nicely in recent weeks for her trainer, Ross Pierce. And another filly to consider, th-DE-LADEVIL, who won the Goldenrod Stakes here last fall and has shown a liking for this racetrack. She'll be a big price. She might be a long shot today.
And, of course, our thanks, as always, to the Daily Racing Form, America's turf authority, for their helps in charts and statistics, and for the insight of Joe Hirsch. When we come back, we'll talk more about some of those that will challenge Go for One, the Breeders' Cup champion, at 1-2 for the Oaks. Muddy as we take a look, updating the odds for you. There's the D. Wayne Lucas trio of ladies, Bright Candles, Seaside Attraction, Paper Money at 7-1 for all three. Go for One, prohibitive favorite at 2-5. th-DE-LADEVIL of Woody Stevens at 15-1. Dance Colony at 7-2. Piper at 80-1. Scratch Hail Atlantis, another one supposed to be trained by D. Wayne Lucas today, but because of the off track, was scratched earlier this afternoon. Lonely Girl at 18-1. Fit to Scout from Jack Van Berg's barn is at 25, and Arm the Natives is at 90-1. That's a rundown of the odds now in the field for the 116th Kentucky Oaks as they're coming out through the tunnel here from the paddock area and behind Churchill Downs. And when they hit the racetrack, we'll present to you the post-parade for this 1990 edition of the Kentucky Oaks. And my, what great history this race has had. So many champions, including last year, Open Mind, of course, winning this race and then going on to win a championship, her second straight championship. Here come the ladies, and let's stand to greet them now as we'll run down the post-parades. Information for you on these, as the first three you'll see all have the famed white bridle of D. Wayne Lucas. And we'll start with Bright Candles, a $675,000 July 88 Keeneland yearling purchase, in the money, 7 of 10 starts, second in the Santa Anita Oaks, third in the Pimlico Oaks, runs just off the pace. The rider, Jose Santos, the nation's leading money-winning rider the last 2 years. 1A is Seaside Attraction, another Keeneland sale horse, $1,050,000 in the Warner Jones Dispersal in July of 88. Yearling that won a maiden and allowance race in California, third by 8.5 lengths in stakes to be at Keeneland on a muddy track. Chris McCarron, the rider for Seaside Attraction, a Hall of Famer. 1X, rounding out the Lucas entry, another Keeneland sale horse, $450,000, has won 3 of her last 4 at Aqueduct in maiden and allowance company, has never raced on an off track. Angel Cordero Jr., 2-time Oaks winner, Hall of Famer, won last year with Open Mind. The 2-horse, here is the champion, Go for One, from Christiana Stables, Eclipse Award-winning juvenile filly. Never gone off higher than 3-2. She's being held right now at 2-5. Good on the off track. Last 2 wins, in fact, on muddy racetracks. Randy Romero ridden her in every one of her victories, and of course, he rode the great Personal Imps and that great filly champion. th-DE-LADEVIL from Woody Stevens' barn, and Heinrich Dietrich-Kowski. They teamed, of course, some Belmont Stakes victory. Won the Goldenrod by 10, th-DE-LADEVIL did, here at Churchill Downs last fall. 2/3, no wins in 3 starts in 1990. 4th by 9, though, in an off-track recently at Keeneland. Craig Perrette has the ride. Dance Colony, the 4-horse, in the money, 7 of 9. This filly, very good off-track form with 3 firsts and a second on muddy or sloppy tracks. His daughter, Pleasant Colony, ridden by the hottest rider on the grounds, Pat Day. He's won 4 stakes in a row. Churchill Downs' all-time leading rider. Here's Piper, the 5-horse. Maiden looking for first win in 8 starts. Run off track last 3 races, no better than second by 5. Jim McKnight, a veteran Churchill Downs rider, in the irons. The 6th, Hail Atlantis, was scratched. That takes us to the 7, Lonely Girl. Beaten just a neck in the Fantasy Stakes. Good off-track form, 2 firsts and a second off-track. Will be probably the speed in this race, the fillies. Kent DeSomo, you saw just win earlier. 89 Eclipse Award winner in the irons. Fit to Scout, the 8-horse in the barn of Jack Van Berg. Third in the Fantasy, after bleeding in that race, third in the Santa Anita Oaks, won 2 stakes earlier at Santa Anita this winter. Lafitte Pinkai Jr., the Hall of Famer, won more purse money than any other rider, has the assignment on Fit to Scout. Rounding out our field for the Kentucky Oaks, Arm the Natives. Going to the post for the 19th time, and this lady really tries. She is still looking for her first career victory, this Keeneland sales horse. Closest result, second by a head in the Bourbonnette Turfway Park, which, by the way, was on a muddy racetrack. Jack Nagel has the ride. Lexington native rides this Kentucky circuit. Well, there is our field for the 1990 Kentucky Oaks, the 116th running. Tremendous crowd here today, despite heavy rain throughout the afternoon. There you see, they say they may break their record of more than 67,000 set here a year ago. Everybody, of course, a lot of Derby thoughts, though, thinking about Laz Brewer trying to win his 3rd Kentucky Derby. Laz knows about this Kentucky Oaks. He's won this race 2 times. In fact, 2 years in a row. Let's look back with Laz Brewer at one of his Kentucky Oaks victories.
This Claiborne Look Back is brought to you by Claiborne Farm, where for more than a century, a great record reflects our experience.
In the 1987 Kentucky Oaks, it was this bay filly, Bury Your Belief, our Bud Longshot pick in the race, was trying to become the first New York bred filly ever to win the historic Kentucky Oaks in its 113th running.
As the wheel turns for home, it's Bury Your Belief getting the lead. On the inside, Chic Serene, very subtle, coming on up the Appalachia between horses, and down the stretch they come. Bury Your Belief in command. Here comes Super Cook on the outside with Cordero for a late charge. Hometown Queen tries to gain toward the inside, but with 70 yards to go, it's Bury Your Belief, trained by Laz Barrera, ridden by Jose Santos, winning it by 3.
For Laz Barrera, his 2nd straight Kentucky Oaks win. And for Bud Longshot players, an $18 payoff for the 1987 Kentucky Oaks winner, Bury Your Belief. And as the ladies parade to the post, we'll be right back with our 1990 Bud Longshot pick for the Kentucky Oaks. Come back with us to Churchill Downs. And from Millionaire's Row up to the Popper on the Roof, your host today for the telecast. Well, we hit the Bud Longshot in 1987. We need to do it again. I really need it this year. Here we go, the Bud Longshot for the 90 Oaks.
We scout out just the right kind of runner to fit the bill as our Budweiser Longshot, and we've found one, Fit to Scout. Earlier this year, the daughter of Fit to Fight reeled off 3 straight wins at Santa Anita, but has been away from the winner's circle since February, after this troubled effort in the Las Virgenes Stakes. Poised to make her usual late run, Fit to Scout was repeatedly blocked and lacked racing room through much of the race, eventually finishing 4th. After a 3rd in the Fantasy Stakes at Oaklawn Park, Hall of Fame trainer Jack Van Berg discovered that the filly had bled slightly in the race. Now, he feels that the problem is corrected and that Fit to Scout will be fit enough, and you'll be able to fit a few new greenbacks in your wallet with Fit to Scout, today's Budweiser Longshot.
And there's the daughter of Fit to Fight, Fit to Scout, with the Pinkai Jr. being held now at 19 to 1, or make it 25 now. So we're going to update the odds for you now for the Kentucky Oaks. We're just 3 minutes from the post. Bright Candle, Seaside Attraction, Paper Money, the White Bridal Set of D. Wayne Lucas at 7 to 1. Bet 1, get all 3. Go for 1. 2 to 5, and deserves all that. The great champion filly, th-DE-LADEVIL at 16. Dance Colony 7 to 2. They think may have the best shot to pull the upset today. Piper at 90. You scratch Lucas's Hail Atlantis, the big Seattle Slew filly who doesn't handle it off track, and the track will be muddy for the race. Then it's Lonely Girl at 19. The Budweiser Longshot Fit to Scout at 25. And Arm the Natives, the biggest price there at 99. Let's join Charles C. Candy now.
Well, Chris, we might add to the Budweiser Longshot copy that Jack Van Berg says he will win today. He is very confident of this filly's chances, but in order to do so, she, of course, has got to get by this filly here, Go for 1, big strapping daughter of Deputy Minister. Now, today, how she's going to win is really the question. Will she go for the lead? Will she relax? She's very versatile. She can do both. In the Ashland Stakes down at Keeneland, the pace just never really materialized. She sort of galloped along, and then just Randy said, well, I think we better go on to the lead now, and off she went. He can really sit back and wait and see how it develops and use her in most any way he would like. She certainly can handle the track. The question with her today is this is her third start in 24 days. No matter how easily she's winning, she has to put something into those races. If she's got an Achilles heel, that could be the only one today. Chris?
Now that Cajun rider, Randy Romero, had a smile on his face when I asked him, Randy, any comparisons with the great unbeaten filly Personal Instant? Just a big smile and said, awfully close, awfully close. Dave Johnson?
Well, I'm looking at anything that can finish second or third if you get the triple. I just can't see that the number 2 horse, Go For One, can be beaten. So I'm looking for, well, a little exacta box, and th-DE-LADEVIL is one I'm going to use. By the breeding I love. Devil's Bag out of the fine race mare De La Rose. 0 for 3 this year, but trouble and a slow start in her first contest of 1990. She's been training very well. In fact, worked a half in 47-3 on a muddy track, and she gets a new jockey because Jerry Bailey is not in Kentucky today. So Craig Prett's been hot. I like th-DE-LADEVIL, and Dance Colony was meant to be good right from the start. Broke her maiden in her first outing and then moved right into the stakes class. Very versatile. She won the Adirondack wire-to-wire, but the Asterita coming from off the pace. So I'm going to go for a 2-3-4 exacta box, Go For One, th-DE-LADEVIL, and Dance Colony, and then some extra heavy tickets on the Go For One, th-DE-LADEVIL, and Go For One, Dance Colony. Chris?
All right, we're going to take a look also at some stakes and track records here. Now, again, the track is muddy, so that should affect that as well. The stakes record, 150, Franz Valentine in 1985, and the track record, 1 1/8 here at Churchill Downs, goes all the way back to 1958. 148 and 2 is there. Loading up here for the 116th running of the Kentucky Oaks. And what really makes this race so exciting is people realize that we are now really just less than 24 hours away from the Run to the Roses. Expected post time at 5:32 tomorrow here for the Kentucky Derby. But this is the Derby for the fillies right now as they are loading up. Hail Atlantis, of course, was scratched. You're looking at Fit to Scout, the 8-horse. Our Bud Longshot loading in now. One more to load on the outside. Then we're ready to run the Oaks, and Dave Johnson's ready to make the call. Dave?
They're all 3-year-old fillies, and all of them carry 121 pounds. A nice long run to the first turn. It's at 1 mile and a 16th. We've got 1 mile and an 8th. And we're all set to go. They're up. Toward the inside, that's Bright Candles, part of the entry, going for the lead. And Lonely Girl is second, but on the extreme outside, here comes Seaside Attraction. Then tucked in at the rail, Go For One is fourth, followed by th-DE-LADEVIL, fifth by a head. Dance Colony alongside sixth. Then it's Paper Money on the outside, seventh. After that, it's Fit to Scout, the Budweiser long shot. After that, Arm the Natives, and on the inside, Piper is 10th and last, about 12 lengths off the lead. And the lead now is contested by 2 parts of the entry. On the outside, it's Seaside Attraction with Chris McCarron getting to the front 3 parts of a length. At the rail, it's Bright Candles in the second spot. And on the outside, there goes Lonely Girl with Kent DeSormo gaining in third. Then the favorite, Go For One, fourth, just about 2.5 off the lead. th-DE-LADEVIL, the long shot, trained by Woody Stevens. At the rail, is fifth by 3 parts of a length. Then comes Paper Money on the outside, sixth with Cordero. Dance Colony inches up a bit. Along the inside, Piper moves, followed by Fit to Scout and Arm the Natives, 10th and last, as they round the turn, the half in 48 and 1. And on the inside, Seaside Attraction holds on to the lead by a length and a quarter. On the outside, Lonely Girl is in the second spot. The favorite, Go For One, on the outside, now fires. She's in the second spot and moving to the leader. With a 1/4 mile to go, the field turns for home in the Kentucky Oaks. It's Seaside Attraction holding on to the lead by 1 length. On the outside, Go For One is second. At the rail, that's Bright Candles third, th-DE-LADEVIL is fourth, and down the stretch they come, a furlong to the finish. And Seaside Attraction, the $1 million filly with Chris McCarron, is hanging tough. Go For One appears beaten this afternoon. Bright Candles is third, and here's the finish of the Kentucky Oaks. It's Seaside Attraction, stopping the teletimer in 1 minute 52 and 4/5 seconds. Go For One was second, and Bright Candles, part of the D. Wayne Lucas entry, finishing third.
Seaside Attraction, as Dave Johnson called it, the $1 million filly, sold in the Warner Jones dispersal November at Keeneland for $1,050,000. She'd come into this race earnings of just over $42,000 with 2 firsts and a third, but he did like her right behind Hail Atlantis. He thought he might win it with the Seattle Sioux filly. I really think he believed it would be Hailed Atlantis coming into the race. But with the off track, a muddy track, he scratched Hailed Atlantis this afternoon and left it for Seaside Attraction. Won a maiden and an allowance race, third by 8.5 lengths in her stakes debut at Keeneland on a muddy track. And now she's come on to win the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks, one of the most prestigious distaff races in American racing. We'll be right back. Lucas's ladies ruled the day here for the Kentucky Oaks. He had entered 4, ran 3, and maybe the longest shot in his mind, Seaside Attraction, came through to win it. The daughter of Seattle Sioux, out of the mare Kamar by Key to the Mint, had won just over $42,000 coming into this Grade 1 event and has upset the champion Gopher Wand here. 1:52.1 is the unofficial is the time for this 1 1/8. Let's take a look. And Dave, how did she upset the champ?
Well, let's see. We've got Seaside Attraction and Chris McCarron with the green cap winging it on the front end. And Gopher Wand is on the outside and ready to make a move. And let's watch that move. Perhaps Gopher Wand is more effective on the fast track. But let's watch the big move here at the top of the stretch. We thought that she was going to gobble up this $1 million filly, but McCarron fans wide into the stretch, but Gopher Wand just did not have the effort this afternoon. Bright Candles at the rail is third at this point, and as you see through the stretch, as they got closer to the wire, it was no contest as Seaside Attraction turns in a scorcher this afternoon on the sloppy racetrack and defeats Gopher Wand with Bright Candles coupled in the wagering with Seaside Attraction, finishing third, but by about 7 or 8 lengths off the leader. 1:48.2 was the track record. They were far from that. It was 1:52.4, Chris.
Well, there she is, as you see, Seaside Attraction for the team, Dwayne Lucas team. Their third win in the Kentucky Oaks. Lucky, lucky, lucky in 1984. Last year, open mind. He's done it 2 years in a row now. And there's our leading lady, Seaside Attraction, officially now the winner of the 1990 Kentucky Oaks. And as she is the winner, of course, the champion Gopher Wand was second, and another part of the Lucas entry, Bright Candles, finished third. And let's take a look at the rest of the order of finisher. th-DE-LADEVIL was fourth, Dance Colony fifth, Lonely Girl sixth, fifth to Scout seventh, the Bud Long Shot. 8th was Arm the Natives, 9th was Paper Money, and 10th was Piper. In case you just joined us, yes, Hailed Atlantis was scratched earlier. But the daughter of Seattle Sioux, this one, Seaside Attraction, was the star today. Let's go down now to Charles C. Kennedy.
Well, in the anatomy of an upset, what you need is a very good engineer, and it was Chris McCarron today aboard Seaside Attraction. You tried Gopher Wand in the Beaumont. She showed speed and couldn't hold on. What was the difference today?
I honestly don't know what the difference was. It might have been the track surface. I'm not sure, Chelsea, but I know. I don't think my filly ran a race in the Beaumont. She hit her head in the gate very severely. She lunged forward and tried to break the doors open and conked her head pretty good. I think it rattled her cage a little bit, and she didn't. I don't think she fired. She hung on to be third, but Gopher Wand was much the best that day. I wasn't going to beat her anyway, but this filly outran her to the wire. She was a little better today.
Okay, well, now here you are as you turn for home. Chris, take over.
Well, I was going along very comfortably all the way. When I come out of the gate, I wanted to ease back and lay about third. And she got a little tough with me around the first turn and pulled me to the lead and started pricking her ears, so I left her alone. At the quarter pole, I looked back there and I saw those yellow and purple colors, and I said, it's time to go. We got to try to race her to the wire now.
Well, she didn't really fire through the stretch, and you were gone.
Yeah, she may have fired, I don't know, but this filly was just a better horse today.
She ran a big race today. Nice warm-up for you tomorrow for the Kentucky Derby. Chris, nice to have you.
Thank you very much, Charles.
Congratulations, and we'll go back to Chris Lincoln.
Thank you much, Charles. Owned by Overbrook Farm, W.T. Young, and Dwayne Lucas. And what a team they have been. Again, Wayne's third Kentucky Oaks victory.
And what a competitor Chris McCarron is out on the racetrack. Now, he was on the front end in this one. Tomorrow, he's going to be coming from way back with silver ending.
That is right. And, of course, Dave, some Derby thoughts now. We can turn our attention fully to the Run for the Roses tomorrow.
Well, I was wrong about this one today, but I've been wrong a lot. But I still see it as a two-horse race. Mr. Frisky and Summer Squall so close together. I think it's a match race within the 15-horse field, and I give the edge to Summer Squall, especially if it's an off-track.
And I look for the sign that we just talked about and look for a silver ending to the Kentucky Derby. I really like that colt after winning the Arkansas Derby. Chris McCarron wins one today, but as you said, he's got to come off the pace and chase down a couple good ones.
I just think his effort in the Arkansas Derby might have been too much for him to come back with a big race here. Remember what happened to Althea when she won the Arkansas Derby. But it's a great, great contest tomorrow. Very, very competitive.
Chelsea, let's get some of your Derby thoughts.
Well, Chris, I just had my Derby thoughts a little rattled here. When you get that psyched up about a heavy favorite, it makes you wonder if you're choosing right. But I still am going to stay with the two favorites tomorrow, Mr. Frisky and Summer Squall. They've been tops all year long, and until they show me wrong, I'm going to stay with them. I can't decide between the two of them. I tell you this time tomorrow.
Well, Dwayne Lucas, I know, thought quite a bit of Seaside Attraction, of his entries. Bright Candles, Seaside Attraction, Paper Money, and, of course, Hail Atlantis when he had to scratch her. But Seaside Attraction showed why. And the chairman of the board, Warner Jones, sold her for more than $1 million. He was the breeder. I know Warner Jones has to be smiling, too, because it's a nice payback for Seaside Attraction's owners, Overbrook Farm. Tomorrow, we hope you'll join us live here on ESPN. Make us part of your Derby party plans, 2:30 to 4:30 Eastern Daylight Time for the Kentucky Derby Special. We'll show you 3 of the races live before the Derby, and of course preview the 116th Run for the Roses. As you take a look at the end of the Kentucky Oaks, Seaside Attraction wins the big one. The 1990 Kentucky Oaks. The Derby Distaff has been brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Three Chimneys, the idea is excellent. By Keeneland, source of the classic horse. DeBartolo Racing, leading the way to the 21st century. And by the Carter Stud Farm of California. Accommodations for ESPN, provided by the Luxbury Hotel.